Do you ever feel like your life is overwhelming? Like you are exhausted and there is too much on your plate and you have little time for stillness? Well, today what I want to share with you is this concept of essentialism that has been so incredibly beneficial on my journey. I have a default for productivity, for endurance, for grit. Working hard comes naturally, comes easy for me. Saying no, creating space, creating stillness is the place for me where I struggle, that I have to really work hard at it. And about a year and a half ago, I got a call from a friend who asked me if I wanted to be in a mastermind group. And I love this woman. She's also a professional speaker and she's incredibly smart. And the group that she was assembling was amazing. And yet I felt like my life was so jam-packed full that I was stuck. I was like feeling really like I want to do this and be valuable. I don't want to say no. I don't want her to feel bad or for the group to think that I'm not interested or that I don't value them. And so I paused and I thought about, what do I need most in my life right now? And at that time, what I needed most was white space. Downtime in my calendar, not filled back to back to back to back with commitments and activities and tasks and phone calls and webinars. And so I crafted this really long email to her saying how appreciative I was that she reached out and how honored I am that they'd want me to join the group, and that I regret that I have to say no because my life is just too full and I can't add one more thing onto my plate. And I apologized to her. And I said, I hope you can understand and won't feel bad. Well, you know what her response was? She emailed me back and she said, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that you are setting healthy boundaries and focusing on what you need right now and saying no. And she said, it sounds like you're really living this whole concept of essentialism. And she told me about this book by Greg McGowan. Well, I immediately ordered it, one click, Amazon Prime, and I read it that weekend. And it was like exactly what I was looking for. It was permission to prioritize what was most important to me and simplify my life by honoring those things that I needed to do in order to create more white space and to focus on really what I was looking for at that point, and I still am, which is to have more downtime, to not be running so hard and so ragged. And so I created a workshop about it that I presented last week at the Dream Bank, and I just wanted to share a couple of the key points with you today. Now, some of you who are on the call have no problem with prioritizing and setting boundaries and saying no and creating stillness in your life. Some of you have the strength, the mental strength to consciously choose how you show up. And it's not hard for you to be able to prioritize what's most important to you. There's others of us who find this much harder. I'm talking to you. This is all about having the strength to consciously choose what you want to create for your life, to focus on what's most essential. And if we break it down, there's 3 simple steps. Number 1, you got to control your calendar. So this is about identifying for you what's most essential and then creating the space for it first, not squeezing those things in later. Number 2, it's about valuing your values. What does that mean, value your values? Some of you might value family. You might value achievement. You might value fitness. You might value time in nature and the outdoors. when you can really, truly value those things that are most important to you. That's what a value is. What's most important to you? It is easier then to carve out time in your calendar once you've taken control of it, because you know what's most essential to you. So I invite you to think about and ask yourself some powerful questions, to pause. Think about what's most important to you. What are you wanting more of in your life? What are you good at? What brings you joy? What are you not making time for that you wish you had more of in your life? And then step 3 is to say no. It's that simple. If you're watching right now, you can practice. No. And you don't need to give an explanation. You don't need to apologize. You need to be able to set healthy boundaries. And if a request comes in for your time that doesn't fit and align with your values and what's most essential and what your highest priority is, you need to have the mental strength to be able to consciously choose your response, which might be no. I know for me that was a hard lesson to learn. I said yes to everything all the time. And now that I have been working so hard at creating downtime and stillness and white space in my life, saying no is getting easier. And there's a couple different ways that you can say no if you find it hard. You start where you are, and if just saying no is hard, you might say, not yet. So you might buy yourself some time, and an email or a request comes in and you say, oh, thank you so much for thinking of me. Let me think about it and get back to you. So you create that pause, and then you think. And you might think internally, just asking yourself powerful questions. What's my level of joy? What will I get from this that will serve the world better, that honors my passions, that'll have a great impact, that also aligns with my values and what's important to me? Or will this drain my energy? Will this take me away from things that are most important? And it might be that you have to go beyond thinking yourself and invite your support team. So I know when I'm learning these skills, and I still do this, I'll say, well, let me think about that, get back to you. I go to my family and I go to my team and I say, hey, I got this request. What do you think? And we talk through it. And oftentimes they ask me powerful questions, and they help me remember that I want to create more downtime and white space in my calendar. And then you can act. You can go back and either say yes or no based on a more thoughtful response. The other thing you can do is say no and offer an alternative. So it may be saying, no, I can't serve on the fundraising committee, but I'm happy to write a check to support the fundraising efforts. Or it might be, no, I can't serve on that nonprofit board of directors right now. My girls are young and they want a lot of time at home, and I can't have more evening meetings on my calendar, but I'm happy to reach out to my network and help you find someone who is at a good space in their life, who does want to add something like this and community service into their life right now. And there's lots of different alternatives that you can provide. And the third thing you can do is say no and express interest and curiosity. So, oh, thank you so much for the invitation to go see that band on Friday night. I'm not able to go, but gosh, they sound really good. Where have you seen them before? What kind of music did they play? Oh, that sounds wonderful. I hope you have fun. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Because what my biggest fear is that if I started to say no and I only focused on what was most essential, that I would lose friends, that I wouldn't be successful, that I'd have people that were mad at me. What I have found is the opposite is true. People, for the most part, now are there some people who get upset or get angry? Sure, that's very, very, very small. for the most part, what I have found is that people come back and say, I commend you for honoring your girls right now. That is exactly where you need to be. My kids are in college, and I did that too when I was at your stage. And when you're ready, we have a spot on the board for you. Please let us know. Please come back. Or thank you so much for offering to help us find someone. That'd be great if you could share this opportunity with your network. We appreciate your help. Most people are happy to honor your boundaries if you take the time to identify clearly what they are and then communicate them to someone else. Because a boundary is does no good if you don't communicate it, if others don't know what it is. Just like if you think about having a boundary on a soccer field. If the players don't know what's out of bounds and what's in bounds, the game is going to be chaos. That's what it's about. Setting for yourself your boundaries and then communicating to them to others in a compassionate way, in a respectful way. For me, the opposite occurred. I found that not only did I not lose clients or not have success, that when I got really clear on focusing what was most essential to me, I had more joy. I had more time to develop this thoughtfully fit model, which I'm so passionate about, helping people to coach themselves to a life they love. I have more chance to be creative. I have more of an opportunity to connect deeply with my girls. The opposite of being busy is not being lazy. The opposite of being busy is being thoughtful. So if you are making up a story like I did, that if I wasn't busy, I was not being productive, I was not putting out enough in the world, you can let that story go. And you can realize that to be thoughtful, to be mindful, to have the strength to choose how you want to spend your time on what is most essential to you will bring greater joy to your relationships, to your life. And I will say that when I have more joy and more passion, my family's happier. I'm easier to be around with my team. I have greater patience than when I am saying yes to everything that's coming in at me, thinking that I have to do this because someone asked me to do it. Because if you don't prioritize your life, believe me, someone else will. And that was a lesson I had to learn the hard way. And I'm still learning. I'm still struggling with this. That's where I want to challenge you to continually strengthen your core. If you remember, the core in Thoughtfully Fit is you pause. Give yourself some space. And then you think. Ask yourself some powerful questions. How does this align with my values? With what I want? With what brings me the greatest joy? With the impact that I want to have in the world? And then you act. And you act coming from a place of strength by making a conscious choice instead of just having a default response, which is what I did. My default was always yes. I wanted to please people. I had this fear of letting someone down. I felt guilty. All stuff that I've had to work through in order to be able to focus on what's essential. Now, does this mean that I don't volunteer for the girls' school and that I don't serve on committees and that I don't say yes? Absolutely not. What it means is that my yes is very conscious, very intentional, very thoughtful, that it's aligned with what's most essential to me and to my life and to my family and to my values. Family, fitness, travel, stillness. And that's the other thing to know as you're going through this journey is that your values might change. For me, in 2013, when I launched my business, I told my family, I got to go gonzo. Most of the research I've read said that most entrepreneurs and small businesses fail in 2 years. They don't make it. So I designed with my family that I'm going to go really intense. And for 2 years, I built my business and I said yes to everything. And then it got to the point where the overwhelm, the fatigue was so extreme, I ended up having stage 3 adrenal fatigue syndrome. And I realized that the value I had at that time that I wanted to honor, which was productivity and achievement and growth and trying to really build my business, had changed. That I now wanted to put as essential, front and center, a value on family, on fitness, on stillness, on having more time to be in nature, to be able to travel. I challenge you to have the strength to consciously choose what's most important to you, what's most essential, and then answer the requests from that place. I wish you the very best. If you give this a try, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your absolute success stories and also your fabulous failures, because it doesn't matter. As long as you are creating new awareness and stepping into action in your life and then pausing to think about how did that go and starting that cycle again, because you don't only pause and think and act. Once you do that, then you pause again and you think about how did that go? Did I get the results that I wanted to get? What were the consequences of that? How did that work out for me? And then you act again. So that core you have to keep working on. Just like if you want to strengthen your physical core. You can't just say, I'm going to do sit-ups today. I'm going to go to my Pilates class and whoo, I'm done. You have to have a constant focus on strengthening your core. So today your weekly workout challenge is to strengthen your core and have the courage to say no. Thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week on our Thoughtfully Fit Thursdays live video. Take care.